Go. Can start.
Good evening, everybody. Hello. Welcome to VenTalk Live. I'm Zhongwei, your MC for the evening. So very happy and thankful to have the opportunity to host tonight's episode of VenTalk, where we can learn and discuss about Dharma. So when applied accordingly, right, actually the Dharma can help us to eradicate suffering and achieve ultimate happiness. So it's always good that we are able to listen to the Buddha's teachings. So without further ado, let's get started with tonight's VenTalk. Good evening, Venerable.
Good evening, Zhongwei. Good evening, everyone.
So, Venerable, in the past 4 VenTalks, you explained to us the reasons to take refuge, the good qualities of the Buddha, and why he is able to save us from our suffering. So, in last night's VenTalk, you also shared with us on how the Buddha went through 3 great eons of arduous practice, sacrificing his life and limbs for us so that we will be willing to listen to his teachings when he attained Buddhahood. So through these stories, right, it was actually very touching to see how the Buddha actually came back to help his enemies first when he attained enlightenment. So this true act of compassion is something that can inspire us as fellow disciples of Buddhism. So what will we be learning in tonight's VenTalk, Venerable?
Yes. I spent the past 4 VenTalks explaining the reasons and the good qualities of the Buddha, so that we can develop faith in the Buddha, that he has the wisdom and compassion to save all of us, including you and me. Because taking refuge is not just a ceremony to go through at a temple. It must be a genuine conviction that the Buddha can save us from our suffering. And we are willing to seek help from the 3 jewels to solve all the problems we face in life. So tonight, I will share with everyone some of the benefits that we will get from taking refuge.
Oh, that would be good. Yes, it would be great to know about the benefits. So, Venerable, isn't it enough that we have faith in the Buddha to go to him for refuge? Isn't faith enough? Why do we still need to know the benefits?
Knowing the benefits will further strengthen your enthusiasm for going for refuge. Now remember that taking refuge is not just a one-time ceremony you go through in a temple. You need to take refuge every day. And when we cover the precepts of refuge, you will know that we have to take refuge 6 times a day. So how can we prevent taking refuge from just becoming a routine exercise that you have to go through every day? The answer is to know what are the benefits, okay, and then contemplate on the benefits.
That sounds good. So could Venerable kindly explain to us what are the benefits for going for refuge?
Yes, the ultimate benefit is, of course, as we have covered in March VenTalk, is that we will be liberated from this cycle of birth and death and attain Buddhahood. Okay, and then in the meantime, our life will get better and better every life we come back. Okay, but here are some of the other benefits that we will get even in this life. Okay, these benefits are found in the great treatise on the path to enlightenment by Master Chungapa, who explained them according to the compendium of determination and personal instructions. Okay, so I've selected a few here to share with everyone, but do remember for the rest of this talk that when we talk about taking refuge, going for refuge, it's not just going through a ceremony, but it's what we have covered in the previous 4 talks. Okay, so here are some of them. You are included among Buddhists. You become worthy to uphold all vows. You reduce and eliminate previously accumulated karmic obstacles. You accumulate vast merits. You will not fall into the miserable realms. You will not be frustrated by human or non-human hindrances. You will accomplish everything you wish, and you will quickly achieve Buddhahood, which is, of course, the ultimate benefit. Okay, but let us look at the first one. Okay, you are included among Buddhists. To be included among Buddhists, you must uphold the 3 jewels as your teacher and so forth from the depths of your heart. Without this, you are not included among Buddhists, no matter what virtue you have cultivated. Okay, so what this is saying is that what distinguishes a Buddhist from a non-Buddhist is that you have taken refuge in the 3 jewels, which I have explained many times. You must uphold the 3 jewels as your teacher and so forth from the depths of your heart. If you have not taken refuge, then no matter what virtue you cultivate, no matter how virtuous you are, you are not considered a Buddhist.
Hey, but Venerable, how does that make it a benefit? Because if I understand karma correctly, right, happiness comes from doing good deeds. So if I do good deeds and I'm a virtuous person, then it doesn't really matter, right, whether I'm a Buddhist or not, or does it?
Yeah, you are right that the law of karma teaches that happiness comes from being a virtuous person. And this is true whether you are a Buddhist or not, or whether you believe in karma or not. But what this is saying here is that just being a virtuous person does not make you a Buddhist, or just having an interest in the Buddha's teachings or being agreeable with the Buddha's teachings does not make you a Buddhist. You must have taken refuge to be considered a Buddhist, and then you will get the benefits of being a Buddhist that a non-Buddhist does not get.
Oh, so something like a Buddhist has privileges. I know of friends who actually do not want to commit to becoming a Buddhist, okay, because their logic is that I just do good is enough, ma. I just do good, lor. So for non-Buddhists, even if they do good, they will still miss out on those benefits that other Buddhists enjoy. Am I right to say that, Venerable?
Yes, something like this. Okay, so, and one of the biggest benefits that is that for the same virtuous act, okay, a Buddhist can create karma that enable him to be liberated from cyclic existence. Whereas for a non-Buddhist, he will not be able to do that. The best is for non-Buddhists, they will only obtain happiness in cyclic existence, which I have explained in the VenTalk in March. This kind of happiness is only temporary.
I see. So that is truly a great benefit. I also noticed that one of the benefits just now that caught my attention was that it allows us to quickly achieve Buddhahood. So I guess this must also be exclusive to a Buddhist, right?
Yes, that is the ultimate benefit that the Buddha wants to give us, okay, his disciples. So whether you are aiming to be liberated from cyclic existence or to ultimately attain Buddhahood, it all starts from taking refuge in the three jewels. Okay, so let us go on to the next benefit. You will accumulate vast merits. Okay, so let me first ask you a question, okay, and everyone a question. Okay, who do you think has the greatest merits? Okay, so there are four choices here. Okay, the first one is Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. He's actually the richest man in the world now. And or you think it's the president of the US? Or do you think it's a world ruler, someone who actually rules the whole world? Or do you think it's the king of the heavens? What do you think, Zhongwei?
Between Jeff Bezos, the president of USA, and the world ruler, I guess they all have a lot of merit lah. But if you look at these three, I would say the world ruler is the best in the human realm. And then if we look at the last option, we have the king of heavens. So the king of heavens, if it's in heaven, he will trump all of us lah, because we are only in human realm. But that being said, even for the king of heavens, he's still in cyclic rebirth, right? I mean, he's still stuck in cyclic rebirth. So it's like something is still missing. Eh? So Venerable, who can have greater merits than the king of heavens? Don't tell me it is a Buddhist.
Yes, you are right. Good guess. Since you are covering the benefits of taking refuge, right? Yes, so someone who has taken refuge can have greater merits than the king of heavens. Yeah, so here, the compendium of perfection says, if the merits of going for refuge took form, even these three realms will be too small to contain it. A cup hand cannot measure the great ocean, the storehouse of water. Okay, so what does this mean? Okay, so you imagine yourself standing on the beach facing the Pacific Ocean, maybe on holiday in Hawaii. Okay, and then you cup your hand and then you bend down, you scoop up a handful of water, okay, or seawater. Okay, so now you imagine that this amount of this water in your hands is the amount of merits that fills the entire volume of the universe. Okay, it's proportional to this handful of water. Okay, then what is the amount of merits of taking refuge? It's actually the proportion of the water in the entire Pacific Ocean.
Wow, I'm actually trying very hard to imagine all the merits of this universe in the cusp of my hand, okay, in the cusp of my hand, versus the sheer volume of water in the entire ocean. So if we look at relative proportion, right, it's like we cannot even express the difference in mathematical terms. It's too humongous already. It's really unimaginable by comparison. So this is the amount of merits that we can get from taking refuge. So by this relative comparison, it's like we can see that it's astronomical. So what is that so venerable? Why are the merits of taking refuge so great?
The reason why the merits of going for reasonably great is because the three jewels are what we call merit fields. So merit fields are virtuous objects that when we do a little virtue towards them will result in vast amount of merits for us. Because the three jewels are the most virtuous objects in the universe, they are also the biggest merit field. In fact, the virtue of the three jewels are unimaginably great. That is why when we take refuge in them, the merits we gain is also unimaginably great. We will cover more about merit fields when we cover the topic on karma. In fact, the merits of taking refuge are so great that we can even be liberated from cyclic existence through practicing taking refuge, which I have explained in April's VenTalk when I talk about Amitabha Buddha's practice, Pure Land practice.
I see. After Venerable's explanation, it is very obvious that one who decides to do good, but not want to take refuge, right, actually really lose a lot. But conversely, Venerable, if a Buddhist commits sin, will he also plant greater bad karma as compared to a non-Buddhist?
No, he will not. Okay, why is that so? Because one factor that decides how strong a karma is depends on the target of the action a person is performing. So as I explained just now, right, when we do a little virtue towards a merit field, such as taking refuge in the three jewels, you will gain vast amount of merits because the three jewels is a merit field. The same is actually true for negative actions against them. Okay, so if we do small virtuous actions towards the three jewels, then we will accumulate a vast amount of negative karma. Okay, but one thing to note, this is true whether you are a Buddhist or not. Okay, so being a Buddhist doesn't put you at a bigger disadvantage. Okay, in fact, because you are a Buddhist, okay, so you will be more careful and respect doesn't know about the three jewels as a merit field.
Oh, okay, I see. So actually, it's a relief to hear that it doesn't work both ways. So technically, a Buddhist can gain more merits after taking refuge, but if he does accidentally commit a non-virtuous action, he will not consequently suffer greater negative karma. So there is only advantage and no extra disadvantage. I see. So in that sense, we can have no reservation to take refuge after we decide to become a Buddhist.
Yes. Okay, so let us go on to the next benefit. Okay, so the next benefit, you will not fall into the miserable realms. As the compendium of training says here, those who go for refuge to the Buddha do not go to the miserable realms. After giving up human form, they assume the bodies of deities. Okay, so there's this story of how that shows how important this is. When the Buddha was 41 years old, he visited the Trayastrimsa heaven, or the heavens of the 33, which is actually the second level of heaven, to teach his mother. So if you are familiar with the Buddha's life story, right, the Buddha's mother passed away 3 days after giving birth to the Buddha, and then she was reborn in the heaven of 33. So at that time when the Buddha was there was this heavenly being who was about to pass away. Now, when heavenly beings are about to pass away, they will actually know it, okay, because 5 signs of death will appear. So firstly, they will get very restless sitting on the heavenly throne. Usually they'll find the heavenly throne very comfortable. But if they are going to pass away, then they will be very restless sitting on the throne. Okay, then they will also start to perspire and give off body odor. Okay, and their clothes will be. Okay, so usually heavenly beings, their body is fragrant and then it's not dirty. They don't sweat like human beings. They don't give off body odor like human beings. Okay, but if they are about to pass away, then they will start to perspire. Okay, they will give off body odor. Okay, and then the flowers on their crown, they wear a heavenly crown. There are flowers growing on it. So when they are about to pass away, the flowers will wilt. Okay, and then the last sign is that the light radiating from their body will fade away. So when these 5 signs appear, a heavenly being will know that he's about to pass away. It's a bit like we human beings, if we get an incurable disease, for example, stage 4 cancer, we know that we don't have much time left. Okay, but for the heavenly being, what is even more scary than death itself is that a heavenly being will know where he will be reborn in his next life. So when this heavenly being looked, he saw that he will be reborn as a pig after he passed away. So can you imagine the kind of fear that he experienced when he knew that?
Wow. Venerable, I can only imagine how afraid he must be. Because if I were to be diagnosed with cancer, I'll also be very devastated. Speaking of cancer, actually, I did have a JC friend. So she was only 20 when she contracted stage 4 cancer. So actually, she was a very bubbly and extroverted person, very well liked. But then after she contracted the disease, then her health deteriorated actually very, very rapidly. So after that, she just left very suddenly. So after that, then it also struck a note as to how life is really fragile, how fragile life really is. So back to the story, right? If I were to know that I'll be reborn as a pig, actually I think I will totally fall apart. So what did the heavenly being do?
Yeah, so the heavenly being, wow, you're going to be reborn as a pig. Yeah, so they're very desperate. So he went to the king of the heaven of 33, Indra, or in Chinese we call it 第四天 or 一王大帝. So he went to the king of heaven of 33 for help. And then Indra told him that he's not able to do anything because it's your karma. Okay, but the Buddha will be able to help him. Okay, so he asked the Buddha to go and seek help from the Buddha. What did the Buddha do? The Buddha taught him about 3 refuge and then let him take refuge in the 3 jewels. Okay, then not long after, the heavenly being passed away. Then Indra, he used his heavenly eye to look for this heavenly being where he was born in. Okay, so he looked everywhere, including the miserable realms, the human realms, and then also the heavens. But no matter where he looked, he couldn't find his former subject. So very curious, you want to know where he was reborn. So Indra went to the Buddha to ask the Buddha where the heavenly being was reborn. So the Buddha told Indra, your heavenly eyes, these heavenly beings, your heavenly eyes, you can only see the realms that is below you, okay, below the heaven of 33. The heavenly being has been reborn in Tushita heaven. Okay, so Tushita heaven is actually 2 levels above the heaven of 33. Okay, so that's why, Indra, that's why you cannot find him.
Wow. So from being initially going to be reborn as a pig, then he actually became being reborn in Tushita heaven. So that's the merits of taking refuge. That must be really powerful, right? To change his destiny like that.
Yes. Okay, but we don't just view this story as a story. Okay, because all of us will pass away one day. Okay, and then you will never know when you will pass away, like you share about your friend who got cancer. So if you truly believe in rebirth, then you must be concerned where you will be reborn in after you pass away. As I have explained in January's VenTalk, right, that the true benefit of the Buddha's teachings is to give us, it's not only just to give us the happiness of this life. You can actually obtain the happiness of this life through other mundane means. Okay, but how can you guarantee that you will be reborn in a happy place after you pass away? All the money, all the fame you have, your good friends, your good looks, okay, that you enjoy now cannot help you. The only way is through learning the Buddha's teachings. And if you take sincere refuge in the three jewels, you don't have to worry you will be reborn in the miserable realms.
I see. So actually this story really does put things into perspective lah. Because usually we will chase after the mundane happiness such as money, luxury, relationships, power, beauty, etc. And when we chase after all this mundane happiness, we don't give serious thoughts to our next rebirth. So inevitably, when we chase after such mundane happiness, we generate bad karma lah. So luckily now that we have met the Buddha's teachings, hopefully it's not too late. So Venerable, that story about the heavenly being taking refuge to the Buddha is in person, right? To the Buddha in person. However, the Buddha has already passed into parinirvana. So how do we still get the benefit? Do we still get, if we were to take refuge in front of the Buddha's statue, do we get the same benefit?
Yes, we will still get the same benefit, even though the historical Buddha has already passed into nirvana. And then you are actually taking refuge in front of the Buddha's statue. Okay, why? One thing to remember, when we take refuge in the Buddha, we are not taking refuge in the Buddha's statue. We are taking refuge in the Buddha. Okay, so as I have covered in April's VenTalk, the mind stream of a Buddha will not disappear after he enters parinirvana. He will continue to take other forms using different means, okay, such as the form of an excellent teacher, okay, to continue helping sentient beings. So as long as we take sincere refuge in the Buddha, he will definitely come and help us. This is the experience of myself, as well as those students of our Dharma classes here in BW Monastery.
Yes, I think so too. As long as our heart is with the Buddha, he will always be here to guide us lah. Yeah. So Venerable, do you have any other encounters of humans that took refuge in the three jewels who were subsequently reborn in heaven?
I don't have heavenly eye like Indra or the Buddha. So I can't see where people are reborn in after they pass away. But as a Venerable, I get many requests from students and devotees to dedicate merits to them or their family members when they are facing serious illness and near death. And so far, from those that I've heard, for those facing serious illness and the last stage of their life, they are able to face their illness or imminent death with calmness and positive attitude. And then when they pass away peacefully without any fear. As I shared in December's VenTalk of my mother's death, she was just like sleeping when she passed away. And then her body was fierce.
The benefits that you have explained so far is concerned with the merits of future lives. But these things are quite intangible for us ordinary beings lah, because as beginner practitioners, we are usually more concerned with the happiness of this life. So is there any benefit that is more tangible to people like us?
Yes, there is. Okay, since you asked, okay, let me explain the next benefit, which should be very attractive to you. You will easily accomplish your activities. Okay, so if before undertaking a proper activity, you make offerings to the three jewels, go for refuge, and then pray to succeed, you will easily accomplish it.
Okay, that does sound very attractive. But is it really true? I mean, will I really accomplish my activities easily through making sincere offerings and taking refuge? In fact, everything that I ask for?
The success rate really depends on your faith in the three jewels. And then, of course, what you want to accomplish. If what you want to accomplish is something that's going to harm you in the long run, then chances are the Buddha is not going to bless you for it to be accomplished. But if it is something that will benefit you, you can be sure that you will succeed. Okay, let me share a couple of stories. Okay, when I was young and still a lay disciple, yeah, I listened to many of Jing Kong Fa Shi, Venerable Jing Kong, his discourses. Okay, one that left me a very deep impression, okay, is that he said that in Buddhism, there will always be a response to whatever you ask for. In Chinese, they call it 佛事门中有求必应. And then he said that for himself, whatever things that he need, he will just, or whatever things that he want to accomplish, he does not actually go around to trying to get the things that he wants. In Chinese, we call it 攀缘. Yeah, he will just pray to the Buddha for it to be granted. And then he said that his wishes are always granted, and the longest that it takes is 6 months. So my own experience is also like that. If you ask the Buddha for something that is virtuous, then chances are it will be accomplished. Okay, especially if you ask to learn the Buddha's teachings. That I'm here now in BW Monastery as a monk is actually also through asking for it from the Buddha.
Oh, interesting. So, could Venerable you share with us? Could you share with us your story about how you became a monk in BW Monastery?
Yes. It actually started quite a number of years back. Okay, so as I shared before, I was a Buddhist since I was born. Okay, because my father would bring the whole family to the temple to do chanting every Sunday without fail. Okay, every Sunday, every week. Okay, then when I grow older, and when I was in secondary school, I started reading books on Buddhism. And that is when my interest in learning the Buddha's teachings started. Then after that, for many years, I will actually read books on the Buddha's teachings. And then, as I've shared just now, I also listen to many discourses given by different Buddhist masters. So Jing Kong Fa Shi is one of them. Okay, however, despite knowing a lot about the Buddha's teachings, okay, and then also I also focus my practice on chanting the Buddha's name, Nianfo. Okay, but I find that when my afflictions arose, I couldn't apply the teachings that I have learned to solve the problems caused by my afflictions. And then you reach a point where I was almost on the brink of depression, okay, having to drag myself out of bed every day to go to work. Okay, and then that is when I remember Jing Kong Fa Shi, his story on how his wishes were always granted by the Buddha. Okay, so I prayed to Amitabha Buddha. Yeah, I told Amitabha Buddha, please help me find a teacher. Help me find a teacher that will be able to teach me how to use your teachings to solve the problems that I'm facing. Yeah, then not long after that, a friend introduced me to BW Monastery. And she was in the group of the Buddhists that went to the same temple that we went to do chanting every week. Okay, but after the temple actually closed for renovation, and then we stopped the chanting session. Okay, but the group will still continue to come to our house every Chinese New Year to visit my mother. Okay, so not long after I prayed to Amitabha Buddha, this friend told me about BW Monastery. Okay, and then she invited me to attend a Dharma class that BW Monastery had just started. So at the time, actually, I didn't realize that it was Amitabha Buddha responding to my request. So I was thinking, I already listened to, and then I listened to so many discourses, and then I read so many books on. Okay, but she was very persistent. Okay, and then she kept on calling me, or called me a few times to persuade me. And then she even offered to accompany me, bring me to the venue, show me where the classroom is. I still remember she actually invited me for dinner first at the Guan Yin Zai in Geylang. Then after that, we went over to the classroom. Yeah, so out of courtesy, I decided to attend the class. Okay, at first, I didn't find the class very special. I certainly didn't think that it would be the start of my lifelong commitment to BW Monastery. Yeah. Then, around that same time, my brother, he has already migrated to Australia. So he asked me, seeing that I'm not getting anywhere in life. So he asked me to consider migrating to Australia. I had actually visited him before, and then I liked the place, so I was seriously considering it. Yeah, and then I even went to an immigration consultancy company to do an assessment of my chance of succeeding migrating to Australia. It's a borderline case. But if I don't mind migrating to the smaller cities, then I still have a chance. So yeah. Then also at the same time, so a few things happening at the same time. The polytechnic that I was teaching in offered me a 1-year postgraduate scholarship to the UK, all expense paid. But after that, after completing the postgraduate studies, I will have to serve a bond of 5 years. So that put me in a dilemma. Should I migrate to Australia or should I accept the scholarship? Because after I finish the studies and serve out my bond, I will be too old already to qualify for Australia immigration. So I really couldn't decide. So my brother asked me to ask Guan Si Yin Pusa for advice.
Wow. Okay. So Venerable, do you come to Bidari Monastery to seek Guan Si Yin Pusa's help via the Guan Yin Divine Lords here?
No, that was way back in 2007. So our monastery was not built yet. If we had our monastery already, I would certainly seek Guan Si Yin Pusa's advice here. Yeah, I heard many devotees say the advice given by Guan Yin here is through the divine lords, the Guan Yin Qian are very helpful and accurate. Yeah. Yeah. By the way, we have recently renovated our Guan Yin Hall. So when the monastery is fully open again after the COVID pandemic is over, do remember to come to our Guan Yin Shrine Hall, the new one, to seek Guan Si Yin Pusa's help when you need to make difficult life decisions like mine.
Yes, I definitely will. So, Venerable, where do you go in order to seek Guan Si Yin Pusa advice help if it's not at Bidari Monastery?
Yeah, the most popular place was, of course, Guan Yin Temple in Waterloo Street. But I kind of find the place a bit too crowded and noisy for my liking. So I actually went to Pu Ming Si, Bukit Timah, the one that's opposite Coronation Plaza on the other side of the canal, to do the Guan Yin Qian. Back then, it's still the old shrine hall. So it's actually a very quiet and peaceful place. So I asked Guan Si Yin Pusa, should I migrate to Australia? And then the answer that Guan Si Yin Pusa gave me, it is too late. But when the storm clears, when the storm stops, the sky will become clear again. Yeah, you will be safe with no disaster. So I decided, since Guan Si Yin Pusa said too late to migrate to Australia, so I decided to go for the scholarship. And then while in the UK, I continue with my Dharma class here at BW Monastery using Skype. And then surprisingly, the timing was just perfect. When it was 7:30 p.m. here in Singapore, it's 11:30 a.m. in the UK. Then not only that, my timetable never clashed with the timing of my Dharma class. I never have any lessons scheduled at 11:30 on the day of my Dharma class throughout the year. Yeah, so it turns out that I didn't miss a single lesson of the Dharma class here in Singapore when I was in the UK. My attendance was even better than when I was in Singapore.
Very interesting story. Thanks for sharing, Venerable. Actually, I also do have strong affinity with Guan Si Yin Pusa. I will actually pray to her every morning before I start work. And usually everything will turn out very smooth at work, usually under her blessing. I also have a little statue of her at my office. So she's actually very effective. Guan Yin is very effective. So, okay, to summarize, right? Amitabha Buddha led Venerable to an excellent teacher. Then after that, Guan Si Yin Pusa guided Venerable to continue to learn under the excellent teacher when you were doing your postgraduate studies in the UK. Am I right?
Yes, looking back, it looks like Amitabha Buddha granted my wish to find an excellent teacher. But of course, at that time, I didn't know it was because if I had migrated to Australia, then I would definitely have stopped my Dharma class at BW Monastery. Yeah, but the story didn't end here. Let me continue. Okay, so after I graduate, after I finish my postgraduate studies, I returned to Singapore. Okay, and then of course I continue to work at the Polytechnic. I have a bond like 5 years. Yeah. So during these 5 years, I continue my Dharma class. Okay, and then I was also involved in many volunteer work at VW Monastery. So through this process, I actually get to know our excellent teachers better. I also get to know the Sangha better. I get to know why the Sangha, Shifu set up the Sangha, and then the significance of becoming a monk. Yeah. Then when I learned about how significant being a monk is, I decided that I should also become one. But at that time, VW Monastery didn't have a Sangha yet. So if any student want to become a monk, they actually have to join the Sangha in Taiwan set up by Shifu. Yeah, but the problem for me is that I'm already over the age limit where they will accept newcomers to join the Sangha.
Let me guess. So did Venerable pray to Guan Yin Pusa again?
Yes. Yeah, right. I pray to the Buddha, I pray to Guan Yin Pusa, I pray to Shifu that I want to become a monk. So I even enroll in the experiential retreat that they organize for those who want to become monks. And then they told me that, yeah, when I told them that I want to become a monk, they refer me to our abbot, Jingyuan Hesang, the abbot Jingyuan. But after that, I didn't receive any news of my application. But unknown to me, at that time, actually, our excellent teacher had already urged abbot to build a monastery in Singapore. Okay, then in 2014, we bidded for this land, this plot of land in Woodlands to build a monastery, and then we were successful. So what do you need if you have a monastery?
You need monks.
Yes, of course. You need a Sangha. Okay, so abbot asked those who are interested to apply. And then the good thing is there's no age limit. And so just nice, I've also finished serving my 5 years bond with the Polytechnic. Okay, so of course I grabbed this opportunity. The rest is of course history. So that's how I become a monk and then sitting here giving this talk. It's all due to the kindness of the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, and our excellent teachers, and then of course Abbot Jing. Yeah, so coming back to this benefit. If before undertaking a proper activity, you make offerings to the three jewels, go for refuge, and then pray to succeed, you will easily accomplish it. My own experience is a testimony to it.
Yeah, actually, that is truly a very remarkable story. Thanks for sharing your personal experience with us, Venerable, about your journey. This does strengthen the faith and conviction that as long as we are sincere, we take refuge in the three jewels, nothing is impossible. I guess I should also develop this habit today. So whatever activity that I may wish to accomplish, I will also, according to what the Lamrim teaches, I will make offering, take refuge, and supplicate to the Buddha. So Venerable, may I check, if we actually ask for mundane stuff like maybe good health, better career prospects, relationships, bigger house, or fancier car, this kind of wishes, is it also okay? Am I right?
Yes, it's actually okay to ask for mundane stuff. Okay, because of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas' perfect compassion, their great compassion, they will definitely come and help us, even if we ask for mundane stuff. This is a skillful means by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas to prepare us, okay, to eventually be willing to learn the teachings from them. Okay. Sincerely believe. Yeah, so as a venerable, I get questions now and then from students who told me they have obstacles coming for their Dharma class, and then know what can they do about it. Okay, so my answer would be that they need to still do those activities to clear away obstacles and accumulate merits. Okay, so just like 35 Buddha repentance, and then they need to make offerings. Okay, but besides that, they should also pray to the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, and our excellent teachers, okay, to let them have a successful Dharma journey.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. We do need merits in order to be able to continually to attend Dharma class. Otherwise, there will be many invisible forces that come and detract us from learning the Dharma. So this is actually a good timely reminder that we should continue to clear our obstacles and to gain merits by doing the 35 Buddha repentance and making offering to the three jewels. So I guess the key is really to be consistent in our practice and to never give up. Yeah. Thanks, Venerable. That was a very encouraging session tonight. Going for refuge is definitely going to be a main focus of my practice because actually I also want those benefits that Venerable has shared. Of course, I will also come to the monastery to seek Guan Ying's advice when the renovated shrine hall reopens. Okay, so before we end, let me do a quick summary of today's key learning points. So today we covered the content on benefits of going for refuge. So the first benefit that we get is that for any same virtuous act, a Buddhist can create karma that enables him to be liberated from cyclic existence. Okay, so this is in contrast to a non-Buddhist, because the non-Buddhist, at best, they can only gain happiness in cyclic existence. So the second benefit is through the three jewels, we can easily accumulate vast amounts of merits because the three jewels are merit fields, which are the most virtuous objects in the universe. So any positive karma that is planted will generate immense merit. Okay, the third benefit that we covered today is that by taking refuge in the three jewels, we will not fall into the miserable realms. So just now, Venerable shared a story about the heavenly being, okay, initially going to be reborn as a pig, but after he took refuge in the Buddha, he actually managed to become a heavenly being in Tuchita heaven. Yeah, and the last benefit that we covered today was that you will be able to accomplish everything that we wish for. So then Venerable shared the very inspiring story about how he managed to overcome all the obstacles and challenges to become ordained as a monk after he sincerely took refuge in the three jewels. Yeah. So with that, okay, let us invite Venerable to lead us in the merits dedication.
Okay, so yeah, so let us do the dedication. Okay, so please put your palms together. May these profound merits and virtues be dedicated to all sentient beings. May we eliminate all karmic obstacles, and together may we attain the state of Buddhahood. Okay, thank you very much, Zhongwei. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Venerable, rejoice. Good night. Bye-bye.